Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Young Global, another live session with QA. I'm very excited to have Kulinder with us, who has been working with us for many years. And I'm very excited because in one umbrella, you will get an option to apply for more than 3, 4 universities, which is really great. We'll try to get more information from Kulinder. He has all the knowledge and all the expertise. We have been working with many years. I would like to mention that we had a very good, very successful intake, just the January intake for 2025. Now we have a very good response from the upcoming students for May intake. So this session actually mainly for the students who wants to apply for May intake or September. We have various types of questions from many different countries in Bangladesh. So we thought, why not just arranging a live session so Kulinder can directly answer, and then at the end we can obviously answer as well. So feel free to ask your questions at the end of the session. Uh, I'm very glad and pleasant to have you, Kulinder. Thank you for joining. How are you anyway?
Yeah, very well, thank you, Nobin. It's always a pleasure to do these. I know we're in a digital age now. Historically, we would be in country speaking students to students face to face.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we don't travel every day, so doing these events really is good because it gives us direct access to the students, and the students can have direct access to us and ask any questions that they might have about our university's entry requirements and all of that. So yeah, I really do enjoy these sessions, and especially with you guys, it's always good fun.
Yeah, and it's interesting after COVID, like the whole industry has changed. So, like
Yeah, I think
like
the whole world has changed really. I remember sort of like, so my parents were from Punjab in
yeah,
India. They came over to the UK in the 60s, and I remember the first thing they would always say to us was, "You need to get an education." And back in the day, they would like become a solicitor or a pharmacist or a dentist or an accountant, because these were jobs for life back in the day. So my brother is a pharmacist, my sister is a solicitor. I'm the black sheep of the family. I took my own route. There's always one, right? But I think the pandemic. We were talking about the pandemic, and it's really weird because it's changed not only the way we live, but the world itself. It's thrown us into a digital age. So these kind of jobs that we're looking at now for the new generation, jobs like accountancy and all of that, they're in big trouble because of technology. Like, for example, with accountancy, why would you go to pay an accountant 600-700 pound at the end of every year when you've got a computer program like Intuit QuickBooks where you can pay them £10 a month and they will do everything for you and even send off your tax return. So the pandemic really did shift the global landscape and put us into this digital age, where stuff like cyber, AI, which is the big thing now, and anything kind of data related is the new kind of go-to, and these are the new jobs that are going to guarantee people jobs for lives. So this is why I really like working in education, and especially with QA, because we can see where the world is going and what jobs are going to be in demand future on, and so we can tailor our portfolio of courses towards that. So stuff like cyber, AI, data analytics are the biggest selling courses that we have. And the great thing is, we run these in multiple campuses, multiple partners and locations. So it really does give students the choice of, whether they want to study at Northumbria University or Ulster University, whether they want to study in London, Birmingham, or now Manchester. We do cover it all with QA, and it's really good.
yeah. No, that's quite interesting. I also remember the whole technology, the trend has changed a lot. I remember the fintech, which was introduced not many years, maybe 6, 7 years ago. I was
Yeah.
in the conference in London, and they were talking about the idea about the cryptocurrency, Bitcoin. Half of us wasn't sure which way it's going.
Mm.
And yeah, they implemented the whole idea. Now you have the digital banking, you have cryptocurrency, you have Bitcoin.
Yeah.
So what is interesting about Well, how can I relate to this live session? Like, if you're really a student who really focus on career, you want to excel your future, London is the best city where you see all those changes happening, all those innovative ideas are, occur there, like, so it's really, really interesting. It's not just all about study. You have the practical implementation in London. So
No,
let's, yeah,
I would also say Birmingham and Manchester in that as well. So if you look at the
okay.
UK, London is obviously the capital. It's globally recognized. It is the hub of business and enterprise and entrepreneurship. However, I'm based in Birmingham, so I'm always going to kind of represent my city,
Yes.
and say
No,
Birmingham.
what I mean by London is that I meant I didn't just mean specifically London, like
Yeah.
the whole United Kingdom,
Yeah, yeah. So look, I think the great thing with us as well is with our university partners, and especially with Ulster University, which has just won University of the Year, by the way, which is a phenomenal achievement. We have branch campuses smack bang in city centres of London, Birmingham, and Manchester. So these are three of the biggest cities in the UK. Manchester always says it's the second city, but it really is Birmingham. But the great thing is for students that want to kind of experience that multicultural kind of experience, that want to live in the hustle and bustle and experience the hustle and bustle of major cities, then they really can't go wrong with any Ulster campus.
that's right. So let's say we talk about subjects, what we offer at the moment for May intake. If you mention, let's say for Ulster, London first, and Birmingham, Manchester, uh, gradually,
Sure. So obviously, look, I think with most universities, what they do is they would only really offer. They have two intakes a year, which is a September and a January intake. And unfortunately, if you miss the January intake, there's normally a big 9-month wait for that course to come back round. The great thing with QA is, we do understand, we look at markets and we understand that there was a gap there of, students don't want to have to wait 9 months. They'd rather go to a different country if that's the case. So what we've been able to do is we've implemented a May intake. The May intake is predominantly focused on postgraduate programs. So, for example, with Northumbria University, we do have our stable of business-related courses. So, our MSc in business analytics, entrepreneurship, financial management, hospitality and tourism management, human resources management, international management, marketing management. And then we kind of go on to our computing courses with NU, which is computing and technology, cybersecurity technology, digital marketing, global logistics, operations and supply chain, international project management, big data and data science technology, and the MSc in artificial intelligence technology. Great thing with those programs as well is, look, with NU, obviously, look, NU is one of the most, it's a globally recognized university, especially in terms of IT. They are one of the only universities off the top of my head that I can know that they are a center of excellence for the British Institute of Cybersecurity. So, you can imagine if cybersecurity or anything AI or data related or technology related, if you get a degree from this university, it's just going to open up so many doors for you wherever you go in the world, whether you want to stay in the UK and try and get a job in the UK, or whether, life. The great thing with getting a degree from the UK is you never know where life is going to take you. You might have one set plan, like I did. I had one set plan and that didn't work out, and I ended up in education, and I've been in education for the past 12 years, and it's been an amazing journey. So look, the great thing with getting one of these degrees is, especially if it's AI or anything technology related, we are now in this digital age. There is a huge shortage of skilled IT workers globally, and they are one of the most sought after people on this planet. So if you do get a degree in this subject area, you will be able to command your salary. If you stay in the UK, or whether you go to the Middle East, or if you go back home, you're not going to be working for a national company or a multinational company. You'll be working for governments to improve the infrastructure of certain countries and stuff. So, it is really, really fascinating, yeah, and rewarding in terms of how what we do really changes people's lives and perspective and outlooks.
And that's interesting, helping or building career for students for the next generation is always
Yeah, ultimately, look, I think the reason why students come to the UK or people come to the UK is because the UK is in the top one, two in the world when it comes to education. And people know that if they get a degree from the UK, when they then go back home, they can work for those big multinational companies,
yeah.
and really have a fulfilling career and earn the salary. 1 year salary as a fresh UK grad would probably be the equivalent of 3 or 4 years salary as a normal graduate from their home country. That's if they would even get a job with those big multinational companies, because I know they do seek out those foreign degree holders. So yeah, it's definitely something I can see the appeal of why we have so many students apply for these courses.
Yeah, of course, because you have international students from all over the world. It's not just from Asia or Africa. Like, I could see even like students from Europe. Like, they are coming to England to get the
Yeah, and
qualification.
this is a really good selling point. Another really strong selling point for the UK, look, is the fact that we are a very multicultural country. We have people from over 130, 40 different countries around the world that live, study, work in the UK. And touch wood, we are in relative peace. The UK is a very stable country, and it really does look after its residents. So yeah, it is an amazing place to come and study and live, and just to experience and gain some additional cultural knowledge alongside your studies. You'll get to kind of understand how things work around the world. Like the way business is done in Africa is completely different to the way business is done in the Middle East, to the Far East, to the Western, so to speak. So yeah, it really does build up a global outlook for students.
That's right. But the concept is, I mean, the root concept is the same. Like, even if you want to become an entrepreneur, regardless where you want to do it, the British academic system will build that foundation.
Yeah,
Any go anywhere, regardless you want to go to Asia, Africa, Australia, States, anywhere, you will be well recognized. Like, it's not
yeah.
like
I think one of the biggest
or
one of the
something.
biggest kind of selling points for the UK, and I always say this: there's 3 or 4 key reasons why. If you're a student now sat in Bangladesh and you've got the world is your doorstep, you've got the world at your doorstep. You can pick any country in the world. Why would you pick the UK over any other? Why? And there's a number of really good reasons why. One, the way we teach, the way we actually teach our courses, we have theoretical and practical based learning. So the majority of the world will be theoretical based learning, especially students from Bangladesh. You'll understand this. You'll walk into a classroom, lecturer will come in, morning, sir, morning. He writes a question on the board. You look down, there's a textbook in front of you. You look in it, find the answer, and write that down. And that's theoretical based learning. Everything you need to learn in that year is from that one book. So as long as you memorize it, you have a test at the end of the year based on this book, you'll get your results. However, in the UK, we have a very practical way in the way we teach, and it develops these problem solving and analytical skills, which big multinational companies want. So for example, you're in the UK, a lecturer would walk in the room or a teacher would walk in the room, writes a question on the board. You look down, there is no textbook to find the answer. It's a blank piece of paper. You would have to use your problem solving skills and analytical skills to find the answer to that question or develop a solution to that problem. And this is why these our UK degrees are more sought after, because you don't get that around the world. Secondly, our courses are a lot shorter. If you compare a standard master's degree with America, Australia, Canada, it's a 2-year program. With the UK, we have a 1-year program. So it's a lot more condensed, it's a lot more focused, and it will still be more recognized than those other degrees. And finally, I think especially for South Asia, the visa process is so streamlined compared to the likes of Canada and America, Australia, where you have to send off your documents. There's GMATs that you have to do. There's all of these additional hurdles that you have to clear. And then at the end of that, there's no real, it's kind of like a lottery if you get, or lucky dip if you get a visa or not. Great thing with the UK is our visa process is very streamlined. It's a very quick turnaround. There's not many documents that you need to provide. And the actual process of getting your visa is simple. And finally, I would say the key one is our course fees. If you compare the fees of what a master's degree is in those other countries compared to the UK, it's a lot cheaper. So you'll get a more recognized degree in a shorter amount of time at a lower cost, in a more friendly multicultural country. It ticks all the boxes. It really does sell itself.
No, that's true. So just as you mentioned about the cost, so what would be the cost for Ulster University London for masters, roughly? How much it will cost for international?
Okay, so for the master's programs, we offer two different types of master's programs. So, there's three different types actually. So I'm just going to quickly cover these, and then what I'll do is I'll go through the kind of prices. So we have an extended master's program. This is basically our version of a pre-master's. So if a student can't meet the direct entry requirements for a master's program, we will put them on our extended option. So basically it's a single semester pre-masters. So they would come in, do one semester on the pre-masters, and then they would go on to join their chosen
subject
master's degree. And that's one. The great thing is it's one visa, so the students don't have to worry about, do I do my pre-masters and then do I have to fly home or come back, or it's all in one visa. We then have a standalone master's program, which is the 1-year program. Students would come in, do their modules, do their dissertation, get their degree, and then it's up to them whether they apply for a PSW or whether they then go back home. Or then we have our advanced practice option. So the advanced practice option is where it's our version of an internship or work placement. And I think how we differ from everybody else in the UK is the fact that we are one of the only higher educational providers that can guarantee students an internship, which is a huge bonus for students, because look, every university in the UK will offer an internship or a work placement. But the onus is really on the student to find that internship. The universities will try their best to get these students internships, but ultimately the onus is on the student. And it's a very competitive market. It's probably one of the most competitive markets I've seen, this internship market, where I think last check that I did, there was around 65,000 internships available in the UK every year. And there's around 200,000, 250,000 applicants for those internships. So as you can imagine, that number doesn't go into that number. And ultimately what happens is a lot of students will be unable to gain an internship. So they've paid that extra money for that internship, but unfortunately they couldn't get a placement. They would then have to just leave with the masters or then apply for a PSW. So as I mentioned, what we can do is, because QA Higher Education is part of a larger group that works with 80% of the top 250 FTSE listed companies in the UK use QA as a group to train their staff. We have a consultancy arm of our business where we work on large corporate and government contracts. If a student is unable to find an internship, we can then put them into the consultancy arm of our business where they will be working on a live project. And this is where we can kind of guarantee that internship. And it's not just the internship that we guarantee. We do run a number of additional short courses that we give students, which is, look, I've been in recruitment for 20 years now, and the amount of times that I saw a candidate that was perfect for my client's job, but because their CV wasn't worded right, or because they didn't write a strong enough covering letter, they didn't get the job, or if they got an interview, they didn't know how to prep for an interview, they didn't get the job. So alongside the master's degrees, what we will also give is short additional courses or classes where we'll show students how to make your CV stand out from the crowd, how to write a covering letter. If you get an interview, how's the best way to prep for your interview? It's these little things, that really do add up and add value, where we go above and beyond a lot of what a lot of other UK universities offer or do.
Thanks, that's very interesting. And what would be the entry requirements for masters students from Bangladesh?
Okay, so for the Bangladesh, I'll cover both university partners. Okay, so for Northumbria University, I'll cover kind of the three. You have we do offer a number of undergraduate programs, but that's for September. So I imagine what we'll do is we'll just cover May off, which is the PG, and then I'm pretty sure we'll be doing some more kind of Facebook sessions later on in the year to cover the September intake. But for the postgraduate programs with Northumbria University, we're looking at a 3 or 4 year bachelor's degree. And it would be a GPA of 2.5 from a public university or 2.7 from a private university. And for the graduate certificate, which is the pre-masters, you're looking at a 3 to 4 year bachelor's with 2.0 or 50% equivalent.
Okay, that's for those students who can't really get admission directly to master, so then extended.
Yeah.
They still have the option. Yeah.
And then for Ulster University, they are looking for either a successful completion of a master's degree from the student's home country at a 60% rate, or successful completion of a 4 year bachelor's at between 60 and 65%.
And what would be the scholarship?
So for Ulster, we offer a flat 15% scholarship across the board. And this is what I really like about QA, because I think, look, a lot of universities, the way they structure their scholarship is a lot of them will do it based on academics. Now, I've always thought this is really unfair, because let's say, knowing by me and you are both from Bangladesh, okay? Your parents were rich, so you went to a private school and had 15 kids in your class. So you had a lot of one-on-one time with the lecturer, additional support and guidance. So automatically your score is going to be a lot higher than me, who went to a regular school, 60, 70 kids in the class, pretty much just spoke to the tutor or lecturer 2 or 3 times a semester. My grades are automatically going to be a lot lower than yours. So realistically, who needs that scholarship more? It would be me, because obviously my parents aren't that wealthy compared to yours, where you've had that extra kind of support and guidance. So what I like about what we do with our scholarships is it's just one flat fee. So regardless of your grades, you're going to get 15%. Everybody's in the same boat. So 15% for Ulster University, and that covers all the London, Birmingham and Manchester campuses. And then we would offer a 30% scholarship for Northumbria for our PG programs at Northumbria University in London.
And is the tuition fee cheaper relatively cheaper, than London to Manchester or Birmingham campus?
So obviously, look, with London, the fees for the, let's just say, for example, a standalone master's program in London would it ranges from around £14,950 for the standalone option. With the advanced practice, it then goes up to, so that's the extra kind of internship option. It goes up to 19,550. And then for Birmingham, for the standalone programs, our fees are 13,300. And that would be for Birmingham and Manchester. So we have seen a huge demand or a lot more students coming towards our London and Manchester campuses, because I just think the key reason is it's just the cost of living in London. London is an amazing city, and I would recommend if anybody has the opportunity to go and kind of visit and see it. But ultimately, guys, it is one of the most expensive cities to live in the world. So a lot of students are looking at a more cost-effective option. One, the course fees are slightly cheaper, but also the accommodation cost of living is a lot cheaper in Birmingham and Manchester compared to London. And look, the UK, we're a tiny country. If you're based in Birmingham, there's a train 1 hour 10 minutes that will take you to London, so it's not far. Or if you're in Birmingham and you want to go to Manchester, again, it's about an hour on the train. I've been in Dakar and I've spent 2 hours in traffic getting through one block of from one end of the city to the other. Sometimes it takes me 2-3 hours. So students understand that. Look, they're happy to come to Birmingham or Manchester, and then they know, look, it's just a short train journey down the road to London, so they can still experience the whole of the UK, and especially London and all the other big attractions that I have there, but then go back to a nice, quieter, kind of more relaxed, slow-paced city where they're going to live and study.
That's interesting. And what about the accommodation facilities?
So in terms of accommodation, because these are branch campuses, these aren't main campuses. So these are specifically designed to be in the heart of city centres to give students that real hustle and bustle experience. So we don't offer any on-site accommodation for Ulster University branch campuses or Northumbria London branch campuses. However, if you do make an application through QA, we do have a dedicated accommodation department. So what will happen is they will reach out to every student once they've paid their deposit and say, look, you've paid your deposit, that's great. Do you need any help finding accommodation? And the students can speak with the team. Obviously, all of the people that they're going to recommend or the places they're going to recommend are all fully vetted. So students don't need to worry about, oh, am I going to get scammed or anything like that. And they will work with students. They'll ask the student what budget they're working on in terms of their accommodation. They'll go away, find a number of places, and then offer that to the student. But the great thing with the UK is, look, there's a huge amount of accommodation available privately as well, through a number of websites. So I would always recommend students to do their due diligence. But if I'm honest, a lot of students that come from South Asia, the UK has a very strong South Asian community. And I'm pretty sure they will have family members that live in London, Birmingham or Manchester. And a lot of students do tend to opt to stay with family, especially because it's only a 1-year program.
Yeah, because they can always find a local accommodation around the university, because they are mainly located in the center of city, so this shouldn't be an issue for them. What about the English proficiency?
So in terms of English, in terms of all of our master's programs, they will require students from South Asia will require an English test. Okay, so for our master's programs, you're looking at six overall with 5 no element below 5.5. There is a number of tests that are accepted. This does vary between each university partner. So stuff like Pearson's is also accepted as well, and a number of other tests. But what I will also say as well, and this is again another feather in the cap for QA, is we do offer every one of our students that wants to come and study with us a free English test. So let's say you took an English test, you took an IELTS test, and you missed your score slightly. Instead of you then having to rebook an English test and pay for that again, what you can do is you can take a free English test with QA, and that is valid for every single one of our courses, from foundation, international year 1, undergraduate, top up, and postgraduate as well.
And for any campuses?
Any campus, all of our partners do accept this English test. Okay. So yeah, it's a really, really good selling tool for us. And it's also really useful for students because, look, unfortunately, an English test is one of those things that is mandatory, and it's very frustrating because sometimes students will have spoken English their entire lives and they're like, their English is better than half the people that live in the UK. But unfortunately, because it's not classed as an majority English speaking country, that is one of the requirements. So students can save themselves money. So for any student now that is looking at May but hasn't taken an English test yet, but is potentially interested in coming and studying in one of our campuses, please speak to the guys here at EN Global. What they will do is they will make your application, and once you then have a conditional offer, we will then be able to book you in for that free QA internal English test. So you can save yourself a bit of money whilst taking this test. The test is done online. It's very similar to an IELTS test where you have a speaking, listening, reading, and writing element, and you'll just be assessed on that. What I would recommend is always go to our website, which does have some nice, really short YouTube videos that kind of explain how the test is going to be taken. Because I think what happens is, if it's like with anything in life, isn't it? If you know you've got a test coming, but you don't know what to expect on the test, automatically you're going to be on the back foot. So please, guys, whoever does book themselves in for this test, please go onto our website, have a look at those videos, because it will explain. So this is how we're going to assess your speaking, your listening, your reading, and your writing, so you can then get yourself prepared and ready for that.
And obviously, those are in Bangladesh, you can talk to us, like we'll guide you.
Of course.
concern you have, regardless whatever question you have, we can always help you guide. We have branch in Dhaka, so you can visit our office in Dhaka. We are based in Dhanmondi. Then we have two other branches in Sylhet. And if you can't come, let's say you are living in a different division, you can always call us, and there is no problem because we do digital support as well. Like you, if you don't want to come, we can still provide you service. There is no problem with that. Our counselors are really experienced. Most of them, I'm very proud to say, most of them, they are graduates from UK. So it is a strength for them, when they deal with the UK students, they know the practical life. They can guide you how to face the interview. Even when you in Heathrow Airport, let's say how to face the immigration officers, how to set up bank account, student card. They're there to help you, because they have practical experience. So don't hesitate if you have any question.
Definitely. I think that is such a really good point that you made, Nobin. But look, if anybody's interested in studying in the UK, what better way to get advice from somebody that's already been there, done that, and come back? They can tell you all that you will need to know because they've done it themselves. They're not just relying on somebody that's living like me, living in the UK, or somebody that's just telling them what they think. These people have actually lived and studied and done what you guys are about to do. So I think it's brilliant. I think you guys should definitely, if anybody's interested in studying in the UK and you have any questions, by all means ask them here. But if not, then please reach out to the guys at EN Global, because as I said, a lot of their consultants have actually lived and studied and worked in the UK, so they have that hands-on knowledge, not just something that they think is going to happen. They know what's going to happen, so they'll be able to guide you every step of the way.
Yeah, thanks. Maybe we'll take some question just to see if there is any question.
Sure.
Let's see. Do you accept 4 years diploma course from Bangladesh?
Yeah, MD. So this is it's one of those gray areas because it would depend on what diploma you've done and what academic body it's from. So what I would say is please speak to the guys here at EN Global, and they will be able to kind of cover that for you and give you a confirmation on that. So we don't actually run any LLM courses, but in terms of the master's programs, as I mentioned, it can vary. So if it is something IT related, then the IELTS is slightly higher at 6.5, but overall, it realistically is around 6.0 that we're looking for the master's programs.
That's the standard requirements. Yes, they're Hull University Hub.
Tony, unfortunately, we don't work with the whole university.
So
I wouldn't be able to answer that, but you don't want to go there. You want to come to Kia. I'm only joking. So yes, but we do accept students that have had previous visa refusals. Sometimes if a student has applied to, as I mentioned earlier, Canada or America, it's like a lottery. You don't know whether you're going to get a visa, and they'll just send you a generic refusal, and there's no real reason given. So it does depend on what your visa refusal is for. If you do have a visa refusal, it can be accepted. So what I would just say, speak to the guys here. You might have an additional compliance interview with our compliance team just to kind of go through why was your visa refused, and what's changed now to stop that from happening now. But ultimately, the university will have final say on that.
Courses
as I mentioned earlier, especially with our master's programs, we do offer that 2-year option where you have that internship option or that placement option on the second year of your degree. And as I mentioned earlier, how we differ from pretty much everybody else in the UK is that we are one of the only providers that can guarantee that internship. Okay, so yeah, definitely do offer that. It's a big selling point for us. Very good question. Okay, so in terms of offer letters, what I would just say is that, guys, for May, if you're looking to come to study for May, you really need to make your application before the end of this month or kind of mid-February, because we will likely be sold out. With QA, because we have those university partners, those locations, those courses, the scholarships and everything, We are extremely popular, and we do regularly have to close our intakes off about 3 or 4 months early. So for now, it's probably taking roughly 7 to 10 days from when you make an application to get an update or an offer. But realistically, if you are looking for May, you need to make your application as soon as possible.
Thanks. And do you accept Duolingo?
So some of our university partners will, some of them don't. As I said, it is a shifting sand. So I know Northumbria University, it does accept Duolingo at the moment, but this can be pulled at any moment. So what I would always say is always try to go for the gold standard, which is IELTS or Pearson's. If you do have an English test which isn't accepted by our university partners, then fear not. As I mentioned, you can take that free QA internal English test with us. How many days classes of a master's program? So it's classed as a full-time course. So you're roughly looking between 15 to 20 hours a week. And these can be spread. There's no kind of set formula, like it's only going to be Monday or Tuesday. It depends on what course you're doing, what intake you're on, and how they've structured the program. But it normally does spread over 2 to 3 days, I would say. And then obviously you have, I think it's 20 hours on campus a week, and then you have 20 hours self-study as well. So realistically, yeah, I would say there's no set days, unfortunately, that I can give you on that. So as I mentioned earlier, the offer turnaround time is between 7 to 10 days. If your application isn't straightforward, then this might create a delay where we have to refer it over to the university, or if your degree isn't recognized on the UK system, then it can take a while. But on if your application is pretty straightforward, then it normally is 7 to 10 working days. So I've covered that already, Iqbal, in terms of the academic requirements for PG. Please speak to the guys here at EN Global, and they'll be able to kind of cover that again for you. Unfortunately, we do not offer any research-based programs at the moment. It's something that we potentially might be looking at, but at the moment, nothing. We don't offer that at the moment. But if and when it does go live, then we'll definitely get this out to market. So in terms of locations, Ulster University does have branch campuses in central London, central Birmingham, and Manchester as well. And then we have our Northumbria branch campus in central London as well. So the locations that we're kind of covering are London, Birmingham, and Manchester, which, as I mentioned, are 3 of the key cities in the UK. So I think with master's programs, the gap isn't really as important, because as long as you can credibly explain what you've been doing, sometimes I've had master's students that want to apply for a master's, but what they've been doing is they've been working for 10 years. They're in middle management. They want to go to upper management, and they need need that kind of UK degree. So as long as there isn't any real gap that I would say is something where we're like, oh no, the student has studied for 10 years, we're not going to accept them. If a student's been working for 10, 15 years and now all of a sudden needs that master's to go up in their career, we will accept those, but any gap needs to be credibly explained. So Satma, yeah, it's a good question. You can, but obviously you need to really show justification why. So this is where your statement of purpose, your personal statement would really be looked at.
Why are you switching? What do you want to do afterwards? Like, why you?
Yeah.
To explain that.
So if you've done an MBA already, then you won't be able to take another MBA because it's just, why would you take another MBA? If you're a visa officer and you're looking at that thinking it makes no sense. However, if you've done an MBA and then you want to do an MSc, so as your second master's, it is acceptable. I mean, universities do this, but again, your statement of purpose, your personal statement, really needs to showcase how this extra master's is going to help you progress in your career. So yeah, in a short way, yes, you can, but please do ensure that you really hammer home and drill deep down into how this second master's is going to help you fulfill your career goals. Um, Not really, as long as you can credibly explain what you've been doing. This normally is accepted by the university. So what happens is a lot of students will leave high school and they'll just think, no, you know what, actually, I want to go straight into work, or they work for a family business or something like that. And then 2, 3, 4, 5 years later, that actually I need to get an education if I want to take my parents' business a bit further. I need business knowledge. They can then go and do a bachelor's. So as I said, look, with the master's programs, the kind of study gap really isn't the biggest issue, as long as you can credibly explain that. What is the deferred term offer time? Okay, so if you've made an application for January and unfortunately you've missed it, and then you want to come in for September, for May, then it roughly is a 7 to 10 day turnaround time at the moment. Into your CAS data. Yes, so we will give a pre-CAS interview to every single student for South Asia, and this is done over Skype.
It's 9 out of 4. I have work experience around 7.
Yes, you can. Yes,
Marketing.
you can. So you'll see your CGPA is strong. It definitely meets the entry requirements. You've got that work experience. You can do the MSc in marketing or the MBA, because you've covered both things there. So with the MBA, it's a management program, and barring the academic requirement, there is another requirement for the MBA, which is a minimum 22 months work experience. Okay. None of our other MSc programs need work experience, but for the MBA, students will need to have 22 months work experience. And the good thing is that can be part-time work. It doesn't need to be full-time, that works full-time, because a lot of students will be kind of working part-time during their degrees. So the university will accept part-time work on that. Wow, that's really good grades. Overall, can I apply for? Yes, you can. You can apply for a bachelor's. I think your IELTS would need to be 5.5 with no element below 5.5. So if you've scored 5.0 in one of those elements, unfortunately, that English test won't be accepted. However, you can take that free QA internal English test. Okay, so you can apply to UK universities with that, because your academic is very, very strong.
Okay, I think that's the last question. Obviously, there are more questions, but we won't be able to answer all of them. But just briefly, if you're really interested, as Kulinder mentioned, it's better to apply earlier, because they have limited amount of seats. So if you're still thinking, should you apply or not, what campus to pick, or what subject to choose, so feel free to talk to us. We are always there to help you. If you think you want to apply, but let's say your bank is not ready, or you're not sure about the processing, you don't need to worry too much. All we need the academic transcript or English proficiency to apply, to book your seat, and pay a lump sum amount, the down payment, just to hold your seat. In the meantime, we can guide you how to prepare the rest of the things, so we can look after all this. So if you're really thinking to apply for May intake, don't hesitate. Contact us. We will be able to help you and guide you. We are here. Always be very delighted to help you. And thank you so much for Kulinder. Thank you for your precious time. We would love to see you in Dhaka very soon, inshallah, as a tour.
Hopefully, look, I think hopefully I'll be traveling this year to Bangladesh. But yeah, if I do, as I said, I think we had this conversation earlier. I haven't been to Bangladesh for about 3 or 4 years now, so I'm really keen to go back and see how it's developed in 3 or 4 years. So yeah, if I do come, then definitely we'll arrange something. I look forward to kind of seeing a lot of the students face to face. As I said, I think this is really good because we can speak to students and get direct kind of questions and everything from them. But there really is nothing like face-to-face, meeting students face-to-face and guiding them and giving them the best possible choice to fulfill their career goals. So yeah, definitely look forward to seeing you guys in country soon.
That's right. So, what is the good last thing I would say? Just the best option, best stand for QA. Like you have option to apply many different cities under one umbrella. This is a very good option for students because sometimes it's hard to decide which city to go. So we can guide you and we can offer you the best service. And if you need to directly talk to Kulinder, let's say we are here to connect with you, there is no issue. He's always there. He's been supporting us for many years, not only for Asian market. We are also working in Nigeria, Pakistan, India. So we are global player, so don't hesitate. Any question, we can always help you. And thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed it. And inshallah, we will arrange another one where we'll focus morely on bachelor degree and also for September intake. Thank
Excellent.
you. Yeah,
Thank you
have a
for your
good
time today. Everybody stay safe.
Kulinder. Take care of
Take care.
yourself.
Cheers. Bye.
Take care.